Hi everyone, Anthony here from Phoenix Partners, Senior Sales Trader, and thanks for joining me on this week's Economic Update. So let's kick off with the UK. Mixed week, to be fair. We had Theresa May being paved the way for her to trigger Article 50 by the end of the month. That's off the back of the House of Lords rejecting the amendment bill made by the House of Commons earlier in the week. Off the back of that, we saw sterling drop to an 8-week low against the euro and the dollar. Against the euro, we reached levels at 113.80, and against the dollar, we reached the 121 levels. On the flip side, we did see a resurgence for the pound against the euro and against the dollar during the week, and that was off the back of the interest rate decision by Mark Carney. Although base rates are kept at 25 basis points, we did see a change in voting patterns for the first time since July 2016. It's fairly big moves despite what's been going on recently in terms of inflation and economic forecasts in regards to growth. So off the back of that, we saw one Bank of England member vote for a rate hike this month. So that's changed sentiment slightly moving forward, but maybe a little bit more pressure on the Bank of England to increase rates this year when it was very much off the cards at the beginning of the year. So off the back of that, we've seen sterling rally against the euro and against the dollar. Against the euro, it's reaching the 115.30 levels, and against the dollar, it's reached the 123 levels, which again are sort of 2-week highs on both sides. Moving on to the Eurozone, Dutch elections have been the focal point for the week. That's against Rutters against Wilders. Wilders represented the far-right movement, who was sort of anti-Islamic, and Rutters was his current Prime Minister and represents the sort of right to socialist side and liberalist as well. He's won that convincingly, and that's paved the way, hopefully, for German and French elections. And he's mentioned, hopefully, that will steer Europe into the right directions, moving away from sort of populist politics. No real moves of serious note off the back of the win, but I guess euro did gain 40 pips on the night. Moving on to the US, of course, we had the Fed interest rate announcement. Janet Yellen raised the base rate to 25 basis points. So now the rates in the US are at 1%. I guess what happened was, from a surprising point of view for the markets anticipated a fairly more ambitious projection for 2017 and 18, when in actual fact the dot forecasts remain the same. So a little bit of caution there from the bank in the US, Federal Reserve Bank, and I guess a more dovish tone by the governor there, Janet Yellen, moving forward. So that saw the dollar actually weaken off the back of the announcement. Apart from that, thanks for joining me, and we look forward to having another session next week.